All right, folks, so we're going to get a 60-second ad break, and when that ad break concludes, we will begin our stream proper. So just going to, let this run, and then we'll get into a night of model kit building and conversation and hanging out and all those things. And I make a couple pennies, and most importantly, folks that are not subscribers, when they come into the stream for the first 20 minutes of the stream, won't see ads, which is nice. That's just a nice thing. Um, and I hope you're doing well out there. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. Of course, we got some Twitter bullshit to chat about. We got some stuff from the world of wrestling and video games and all kinds of things. I got anime to talk about. A wild episode of Undead murder farce. Jesus fucking Christ. Uh, More than I could have ever dreamed in that thing. And a lot more to talk about. But we're going to get started in just a moment or two. Get ready for it. It is coming your way. Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm going to throw the Bear Cave, the Lego to the site, the tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you feel like being a lurker, you can just go ahead and lurk, and that's cool too. Harold is here. Welcome, Harold. It's Saturday, and you know what that means. I'm going to keep working on the Gundam Rose, the Gundam Rose HG, the premium Bandai kit that I picked up pre-order, and it arrived, and it's been waiting for me to build it, and we're finally getting into it. We have the upper body complete, and now we're going to work on the legs and then the waist so that we can body complete this kit. And then the sword. Then we got to work on the shoulders, which also include the cape, which parts can detach from that cape. So the cape is very fucking involved. So we'll have to get that going. And then also, we do need to build the core lander, which goes to the back of the kit, because technically, even though I said the upper body is done, the front of the upper body is done, but the backpack, which is also the core lander, because that's... I'm going to turn my mic down one notch. That's how they do it in G Gundam. The pilot of the Gundam enters the Gundam by flying a vehicle, which then transforms into the back of that Gundam. That's how they enter it. There's no cockpit. The cockpit is the vehicle you drive, the core lander. So we'll have to build a core lander. So that means when there isn't a core lander in there, the Gundam is just standing around with a big hole in its back, which I've always found to be a fun little bit of business. I hope you're all doing well out there on the old internet. We'll take a look to see what's going on with everybody as we chat here. As always, folks, if you just want to be a lurker, you don't want to chat, that's okay. But if you do want to join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. I had a bunch of caffeine because I took a nap today and I was not expecting to do that. I was like, oh, I'll just lay down for a second, and then I just conked out. So I've been a little off. Really needed it because we've had a bunch of rain, but it's also been very hot. So I mowed the front, the back, and the two small side yards. So our house, situated in the neighborhood here, we've got a decent little front yard, a pretty good sized backyard, and then very small amounts of side yard. But they still need to get mowed. So, and also, both of our neighbors mowed their yard. Hey, Rain just subscribed to tier 1. That's 12 months on a 12-month streak. Thank you so much. Let's throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote into chat. And thank you very much for that 12 months. That's wild. I appreciate that very much. The full year. Thank you very much. Oh, and hey, Lashbrook, welcome. So yeah, I mowed everywhere, every which way, and I have a pollen allergy and grass allergy. So I wore a mask, a ventilation mask. I took an allergy pill, took a Claritin, and it really fucking wrecked my shit still, even through all that. So don't, Raid says, don't stop in that often, but love to be part of the Bear Cave. Well, you're welcome. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, some folks watch the VODs. Some people on Twitch. Some people watch the VODs on YouTube. Some people just like the idea that I build model kits, and occasionally they check in with my photos on Twitter. And I'm grateful for the support, whichever way you choose to do it. It's wild and cool that people want me to continue to do this thing. So speaking of doing this thing, we should do this thing. Like I said, my energy's a little low. I'm going to fight fucking through it so that we can hang out. So let's go to the overhead here. It's the Gundam Rose. You can see we've got the top of the rose done here. We'll push that up there. We are working on the legs, which up until the very end of it are symmetrical. So we were able to work on the feet and the legs at the same time. We're now going to build the, we're going to keep working on the legs because we got the start of them, but we got or the feet, I should say. We'll get the feet done, and then we will get them all together, and then build the waist and put this whole thing together here. I don't think necessarily we're going to finish tonight. We might finish tonight because the cape and all that is pretty, like, loaded. There's a lot going on. So we might not actually finish this evening, but we'll get close to it. In our ongoing efforts to chronicle the slow burn with some wild burns, but, never a controlled burn, we'll say that. The death of Twitter. We highlight the motivations, the moves, the outside influences, the poor decisions on multiple people's parts, the culmination of so many people's efforts to ruin a thing that was never perfect, but was working in many ways. The death of Twitter. The clusterfuckery. Yeah, indeed. So, in a reply yesterday, Elon Musk said, block is going to be deleted as a feature, except for DMs. It basically alluding to it being used in Elon Musk's eyes, useless. And then he had features in parentheses. Now, there are many ways to look at that. He later did also say that there's going to be a new thing that isn't as severe as blocking, but is more severe than mute. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this could be. The number one reason is he's the most blocked account on Twitter, and that bothers him because he bought the thing. Well, yes, we will get to that. He probably actually can't just remove it and stay on the App Store. He did get special permission from Apple to rename the thing X because it needs to have more than 3 letters to be an app. But, looks like it might not be there. The idea you do need in the terms of service for Google and Apple stores, you do need to be able to block unwanted communications from people in the app. Now, do those terms of service, are they enforced? Will it actually be a problem? We don't know. As I said, there's several reasons why this might be the case. First off, just vanity. He doesn't like it that people are being muted or being blocked. He doesn't want to know that people don't want don't want to listen to what he has to say. The second reason could be, well, if people are paying money, more people. A reason some people might not be getting X premium is the fact that it doesn't actually matter. You pay this money, and then people can just assume they don't want to look at you. In fact, there were the mass blocks that went through, and people were like, just block the blue. They had all of that, right? So maybe some people were like, well, there's no real reason for you to do that. I don't know if that's the case. I don't think that's what's keeping people from doing premium. It's any other number of smart reasons to not do it. Perhaps, mayhaps it is also feasible that it looks bad to advertisers, that their ads, not only is the ad they're currently running could get blocked, but any future ads. And in fact, there are people who block ads. As soon as they see it, they will block that account because they're trying to see less ads. So somebody who is, in charge of, or somebody who is working towards, yes, John, yeah, that's me as well. That somebody who is working towards, putting together a budget is saying, well, it's very easy for people to just ignore it, and in fact, never even see our not ads, are just our funny memes and our play-alongs with other brands. People won't even see that because they'll have blocked us because they didn't like our intrusive ad. So that could be part of it. Also, the large auto block lists, if you want to join a block list, those have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of blocks on it. Some of those blocks are stolen accounts and spam accounts and turf accounts, AstroTurf accounts, I should say. But some of them are just garbage people, just like complete and utter trash. And there are ways to kind of pick like what you want to, remove, and you can do the friend network ones where it's just like, okay, this person recommended me this list, so I'm going to use it. Those lists, when they are run, are taxing on the servers for Twitter. So therefore, it costs Twitter money to have those things run. So theoretically, it could be to make those obsolete. And simply put, as I said, vanity, right? If it also runs counter to Musk's idea of what social media is, which is a place where his word has to be heard. It's not free speech. To many dumbasses is not you have the right to say what you want with repercussions. Is I have the right to tell you what I want you to hear. And it is not part of that definition that includes the concept of you having the right to hear people. Because it's like, yeah, you can say whatever you want. Nobody has to listen. That part they don't enjoy. So blocking means, well, you can't engage. Now, have I been blocked by people before? Sure. I find it very hard to believe they're sweating over block list processing, but that place is about the shit show now. John, they don't pay their bills. When people say about how much money Elon Musk lost buying Twitter, he did lose some money, but Twitter lost more. The shit thing that happens is that Twitter, the company X, took on debts to pay off the payment that Elon Musk didn't make, which is the thing that other companies do and is nonsense and doesn't make any sense and shouldn't be legal, but it is. So it wasn't that he even offset his debt onto them, which happens in many places. No, it's just debt is accrued in order to facilitate his buying of the company. So they're not paying their bills for a lot of people. This could be a cost-saving measure, or a cost-cutting measure, I should at least say. It won't save anything, but it will cut some costs. That is a possibility, and I don't want to overlook that as a possibility. But the real thing is, you're paying Elon Musk money to have your replies. One of the reasons you're paying Elon Musk money, not you exactly, but you theoretical, is you're paying Elon Musk some money to have your replies at the top, right? But if you get blocked, well, then someone has made the decision not to see your bullshit that you paid for. It's weird. I have been blocked. I'm sure there are people that I will never come across that block me because somebody likes me, somebody doesn't like me, I said a thing that someone didn't agree with. I don't care. I've only cared a couple times. That I have been blocked on Twitter, and I'll mention one of them because the person eventually unblocked me. But a comedian I really like blocked me, and I did not know why, and I was very confused about it at first because we would get tagged in the same thing, and something or other. But it was very strange because I was just like, and then I wasn't blocked anymore, and I've never known why. I've never asked why. I was just blocked, and I was like, maybe they just like blocked. I was like, I guess it's by accident, but also it's like that's not my place to ask. J Devil says new Gundam question. What is the eraser for? So I have this eraser to clean up the panel lines that I'm making. Which I'll show you in just a second as I attach this piece. So you can see right here that I'm going to using a marker. I'm using the Gundam markers. I'm using a marker here because there are little indent, there are little lines on this kit that I am going to highlight with a marker. And I use the quick and dirty method where I am just going to kind of, go over the area here. I'm going to be a little loose with it. I'm going to overshoot because it doesn't really matter. Because if there is not an indent, when I clean it up, it will remove this extra. So I have put extra marker on there that I don't need. I'm going to use this polymer eraser here. I'm just going to erase over, and it removes the extra that I did not need to put on there, but leaves within the grooves a little bit. We'll zoom in a little bit so you can see better. You can see the difference between this and the other side, where you can't see anything in there. And then if I hit the gray, you could use like a Q-tip to remove the extra. You could use a tissue to remove the extra. I know some people use like a damp cloth and just kind of hit it really fast, or their fingers. I like using the eraser because it is the easiest method, because I am not being painstaking. Like, I am not doing incredible detail work on these. I'm just hitting them and moving on because I'm streaming. And so there we go. So I'm not going super detailed. You just started messing around with markers. Nice, yeah. So I'm just removing extra stuff because I could use the fill pens, or I could be very detailed and really get everything. But I'm not worried about that because we're in a stream environment, and my focus is building the kits. So I'm not using sandpaper, which some people would use for the finer parts. I'm not doing a 3-cut method of removing plastic from the sprues. I'm doing a 1-clip, and I'm just trying to get it done so we can get on to the next cool part of the build. Unjo says, I hope I've been blocked. There's some bad turfs and fascists on Twitter that have decided to slide into my replies a few times. Yeah, I'm sure I've been blocked by a few people. I've blocked my fair share. And there are a couple people that I have muted. Mute is great. Y'all, I recommend the mute button on whatever service you're using. I recommend the mute. It's great. Coworker, you don't really want to see what they're doing? Mute them. On Facebook, I have it set so some people who I'm Facebook friends with never show up on my feed. I don't use Facebook that much, but I did that as soon as it was available because I was like, well, I got a couple coworkers that it would be an annoying thing if I suddenly unfriended them, but I definitely don't ever want to see what they're up to in their lives. So I'll just turn this setting on. So yeah, I have a bunch of people muted that I'm just like, nah, we're professionally, we are cool, but personally, I just can't with it. I know I'm just going to snarkily reply to something they say and make it a whole fucking thing, so it's better if I don't. So yeah, do I think they're actually going to get rid of the block? No, I think they're going to do something in between the mute and the block. I don't know what that's going to be. There's going to be something where you can just make it so people can't engage with you, because harassment is a real fucking thing. Also, block people. Same with muting. Block people that you're just like, I don't want to engage with you, because you don't have to. Who cares? It's not, who gives a shit? Just like, you don't want to deal with somebody, they don't get to see your cool shit. Mike from Penny Arcade, who is now retired from going to PAX stuff. He's just focusing on Penny Arcade business, but he used to go to a lot of PAX events. Mike has me blocked on Twitter, which I find hilarious because I have gone to many, many shows at PAX. I have performed on both PAX West and PAX East main stages on more than one occasion. I have done very large events. I did not take part in it, but the shows that I produced, and part of it, we took part in the Omegathon one year as two members of the League of Heels. I have done 1 year. I ran 3 panels and was on 2 other panels 1 year. I've done a lot at PAX. And it is very funny to me that one of the founders of Penny Arcade has me blocked. Why does Mike have me blocked? Well, a bunch of years ago, he said some really, if I'm being charitable, he said some real naive, dumb shit about trans folks. He said some real, like, hey, whatever you do at home, but don't bring it around me kind of bullshit. And he got called out by one of, like, a friend, like a public-facing friend that was like, is that how you feel about me? And it was a whole fucking thing, and it was like shit and garbage, and it was not too long after the Wolves thing, and it was like, which I'm not going to get into here, but it was like a lot of stuff. A lot of shit. And I was being mean and charitable at the same time when I said the following at him. Okay, we got to follow. Yes, welcome. Exia, Quanta VT, thank you for the follow. I don't know why that had an echo, but it did. But I appreciate that. Thank you. So I replied to Mike on some tweet saying, like, you should probably hire someone to do your social media or something to that effect, right? Kind of throwaway, kind of not mean, but whatever, like way too charitable to just be like, hey, maybe don't say this dumb shit. If you still think this dumb shit, fix yourself. But also, maybe you shouldn't be like posting on your social media, right? And I didn't think much of it. Another person I know, like a couple people I know, liked it because they were following both of us, and it wasn't a big deal, and I didn't care. And then, like, 6 months later, somebody retweeted it, and then Mike blocked me. And I have to assume that he just the second time happened to see the retweet and just got mad about it. Like I had maybe just out of the blue said something to him. I don't know. Because the reply was to a tweet that didn't exist anymore. So... and you know what? That's his right. I said, hey, maybe you shouldn't fucking tweet. Now, should I have said delete your account? Yes, because it's also a meme. But like, yeah, he doesn't owe me anything. He can tell me to go, he can just block me. Whatever. That's fine. It is very fucking funny, though, that I went on to do like a lot of stuff at the thing that he started, and he was ostensibly, up until very recently, the co-host of the party. It was very funny to me. That's the most high-profile person that blocked me. I'm going to assume. There might be others, and I just don't know about it. Another fun moment was, and I'll never know the context of this. I got added into a chat, a back and forth, right? Someone was talking about, I can't remember. You know what it was? Okay, I do remember. Back in the day when I did 404ing it, my show where I talked about cool stuff from the internet and had guests on. Lord Crashton says, hey, Pat, at least Twitch is letting streamers keep banned users from being able to watch their streams. Yes. So far, which is great. Yeah, so for 404ing it, I had a segment where I talked about this TV series in Japan where one of they do this thing in Japan a lot with their daytime variety shows where they have segments and they have people in the live crowd watch those segments for the first time. Supposedly they've never seen it before, and they have a bunch of different things. And one of the ongoing segments was a chimpanzee who wears overalls, and she went on adventures, and they documented these adventures. And she had a bulldog friend that she walked around on a leash. And it's wild and great. And I talked about it on one of my shows. And someone else mentioned it to a friend of mine. And that friend of mine was like, oh, I actually saw this first on Pat Baer's 404ing it, and like added me to include me in the conversation. And I was like, oh, someone's talking about, oh, okay, yeah, let's look and see. And I went to click to expand to see the whole thread. And that person had blocked me before this conversation had happened. So to Adam, it was just like, Adam was just being like, oh yeah, actually I know about this because of that. Like, he was just being nice, and this person had me blocked. So I don't know. I was like, I don't know why. No idea why that person blocked me. My assumption is I said some shit they just didn't like, or the real reason I was probably blocked by that person was because they were probably someone who likes Giant Bomb and liked a certain former member of Kind of Funny who I said a deserved mean thing about many moons ago. That drew the ire of some people on the internet. So that was always my assumption, but it was just very funny because I was like, I just liked Adam's tweet and just never, followed up on it, but it was very fucking funny. The building is going well. We're working on the Gundam Rose from G Gundam. There's a premium Bandai kit. I will say this is a very detailed, very nice kit. There were a couple. I would describe this as small stickers, especially on the face. I mean, the head is always going to have some small stickers, right? But a couple stickers here are pretty tiny, and that's not my favorite thing. But it's still been a very smooth build. We have not reached a part of this build where I'm like, wait, what do you want me to do? Like, that has not occurred yet, which is excellent. When we can avoid those things, I'm very pleased. Rain says, I read a really good news article from a community manager that blocking and other removal tools also save lives. Yeah, I mean, so a heavy use of the block can de-escalate some issues, bring to light other issues. A thing that I have said is, if you, in some cases, right, like a friend of mine, who I will not name here, has a stalker and has had a stalker for many years. And that person follows my friend through various social medias, across social medias. And when it's discovered who that person is, they are blocked. And then they create a new account. And then they lurk for a very long time. And then they approach. And they are very confused about why, and they, approach my friend's friends. They have chatted with me before. And they are very confused why this is happening because they have a fucking problem. And it's block on site, right? People that get ganged up on, which is why I like having the ability to lock your account. People that get dogpiled on the internet. Being able to just be like, okay, it is very easy to just say no thanks to all of this shit. That's good. I also hate doing small stickers. Yeah, they're just rough. They're just never super fun to do those small stickers. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, just like you just said, like I don't want any of this. Oh, also, friends, you know this, but I can say it. I'm gonna remind you. If there's someone in your life who won't shut the fuck up about how people block them, and they're like, hey, do you know why this person blocked me? There's a very good reason, right? Because I get asked now and again. I have blocked spam people here on Twitch, right? We can say Twitch, right? For Twitch, I've blocked spam accounts. You always block spam accounts. I have banned and blocked people on here who have come in to cause harm to the community and be shits. That is almost exclusively during streams where we're playing Jackbox games. People have figured out Jackbox is a good place to go in and make trouble. They come in together. They're, a couple friends that are looking, they're chatting in a Discord, and they're looking to make trouble, and they come in to cause problems and to be jerks. That's primarily, like, there's been a couple people that come in here that just decide, you know what? The best thing for me to do on my first chat in this channel is to insult the streamer. And I don't have time for it, and I don't care. I have it set up that you can request a review if you think you have been unfairly blocked by me. That is something I am willing to do. I have blocked more people in Jeff Gerstmann's chat, of which I am a mod. I am a mod in a few places, and I am a mod there, and I take that role. It's basically like, there are some people that, like, look, obviously there's some people in there that don't agree with Jeff's opinion on games. Because that's fucking, everybody's right? You could tell if you watched him play Baldur's Gate 3. Jeff, not having the best fucking time playing Baldur's Gate 3. Probably won't stream it again. It won't be his game of the year, which people will be mad about because it'll be their game of the year. But he wasn't having a great time doing it. And that's okay. But there are some people that are like, well, if you don't like this game, you're wrong. And I'm going to be a dick about it. And we don't need that shit. You can disagree. You can think it's a poor choice. You can be mad about it. You can think he's playing it wrong. And there are people that are like, oh, I wish Jeff liked this more. Like, sure. I wish he had a good time playing it too. But there's a difference between that and I'm going to try to make people who are just trying to have a good time have a worse time. It's like, oh, we don't need that. We don't need that. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Because nobody's owed anything. Getting angry over games is the dumbest shit ever. Yeah, I mean, like save it for being mad about other stuff. Like, there's around the world of video games, there's plenty to be upset about. It's a thing of like, right? Like, I haven't spoken much about the whole, we talked a little bit about it. I haven't really gotten super deep into the whole, like, oh, devs are scared shitless about, Baldur's Gate 3 because this is like the new standard for excellence in gaming and all these other lazy devs are quaking in their boots. And it's like, nah, they're mostly like, I also wish I worked on a very famous IP and worked for a company that was not publicly traded and didn't have to answer to shareholders and therefore could be in early access for 3 years and take people's money at the start and fail. Because one, there's bugs. So it's not a perfect game. There's no perfect game, right? But two, it didn't launch quote unquote perfect. It launched 3 years ago. And they took a long time. And that's fucking rad. I love that for them. That they got to take so much time. But when people were just like, oh, it's like, oh. And also, the people that are like, look at all these people who are mad about this, right? Like, hey, you're going to hear about people are very upset that Starfield isn't good. And you're like, well, they haven't played it yet. What are they mad about? They're mad about leaked start screen. The start menu got leaked and doesn't look great. Is that real? We don't know. Is it actually even real that they're mad? We also don't know, because who the fuck is mad about that? YouTubers? And then who's reporting on the people being mad? Other YouTubers. So I don't fucking know. I will say, a leaked start menu isn't going to tell you if that game is good or not. Also, Starfield's going to come in as a hot fucking mess. It's going to be real fucking fun and really buggy because it's a Bethesda game. And I'm not expecting it to be the best game of all time and work right out of the box. It's going to be fucking fun, but it ain't going to work great right out of the box. Even if it's their least buggy game to date, which is a thing they said about their own video game. I Larian set out to make a Baldur's Gate game from the start of Original Sin 1. All respect to them. Yeah, they made the game they wanted to make, and it's fucking rad. I'm fucking psyched for that. Baldur's Gate 3 is not... I would rather play D&D, which I'm doing in my D&D group. I'm very happy to be playing D&D with my crew and not playing Baldur's Gate 3, because that's how I like to play D&D. There are other RPGs that I like the video game version of. I really don't like that kind. That's just me. But I'm glad for the people that want to play that shit, that they're getting that shit to play. And it sounds like they're having a great time. Rules. IGN referencing a bunch of outraged users that did a lot of social justice warrior content. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, also, yes. Somehow, the game where you can have sex with a bear became the game that the worst people you can think up in video game fandom have decided is the game they're going to use to say that other game developers are lazy and bad. Is the game where you get to fuck a bear. You can. You don't get to. You can. You can romance a bear. If that works for your character and that character, and everything plays out the way that you're hoping it would play out, because you're trying to pursue an encounter with a bear form of a person. Yeah. 5 gift subs are handed out. Thank you so much. Let's throw the Barricade Lego side them both, and thank J Devil for gifting a sub to Throttle Bottom, 62 Mike, Achilles Nipple, Game Deep Stan, and Jay Lessica. That's John. That's Chili John. Thank you. Thank you for throwing those gift subs in there. Appreciate that very much. We now have... I now have to write down the new highest amount of subscribers I've ever had, because we are now at 145, because Bunny Fiend on Monday donated 100 gift subs, breaking my all-time record, and now with those 5 gifted subs, we have increased my all-time record. It's ridiculous. So yeah, so my record has now increased even more than it was. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Lord Crash says, if you're interested in that sort of thing, there's a lot of hentai-style games on Steam that you get with bears and other wild creatures. Hentai games on Steam, Lord Crashington? I never. How could they? I mean, that just seems yes. Yes, that's true. Quick hit. Quick video game hit. One thing. We'll say this. Hey. Back when I used to talk about my top 10 video games of the year, when I still did that, when I still did those lists and didn't make them about, when those lists still existed, and I hadn't in 2021, decided that I just want to talk about anime because I wasn't really playing, sometimes I wasn't playing 10 games a year, so I didn't feel right doing the list, and I was like, hey, Alex, can I talk about anime instead? And Alex said yes. I was like, great. Hey, I made a video this year. Can you just include that? And yes, okay. Back when I still did that. A game that the first game and the sequel made my top 10. They came out late in the year, but they were so funny and charming and great. That's The Frog Detective. Now, there's more than... There are 3 games in the Frog Detective series. The third one I liked a lot. Didn't make my top 10 because there is no top 10. Rejizzle, that is on my wish list. Yes, that is on my Steam wish list to check out. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is something that I would like to play. My buddy Too Mellow is on the soundtrack. I would like to check that out. They have cleared all songs, so it will not trigger any issues on YouTube or Twitch. I would like to play that game. Maybe stream it. I don't know. But anyway, the Frog Detective collection is coming out this year. It will come to consoles for the first time. because it was on Steam and Itch, and it's coming to Game Pass. And it will also, for the first time, be localized into other languages, which is great. And there's also going to be a mini game that's exclusive to the entire mystery, is what they're calling it. Frog Detective: The Entire Mystery. Hey, so comedy in video games is fucking difficult. And Grace, the creator of Frog Detective, who I was lucky enough to have on a improvised postmortem, who I have met a couple times at PAX. She and Abby Russell are friends. Frog Detective is her baby. She gave a very silly quote, because Grace Bruxner is a wonderful weirdo. I want to now read her quote. I have spent countless hours learning many languages just to translate every word meticulously myself. Unfortunately, I am not very good at learning languages, so we had to hire help. But I feel like it's only polite that everyone buys the console versions so that my time was not wasted. Now I know how to count to 3 in Portuguese. Actually, I don't. Thank you for playing, everybody. Which is a fantastic quote by such a wonderful little weirdo. But yeah, Frog Detective is great. It's a detective story. You're a frog. What's not to love? And it's funny. And again, as I said, comedy in video games is very difficult because comedy is subjective. And I think Grace is just a charming, wonderful weirdo. And her stories her games are great. So yeah, if you've never played it, it's coming to Game Pass, all 3 together in a collection. Or you could buy it for a console if you wanted to. There are already too many video games. Probably going to have to skip Bomb Rush and Blasphemous 2 for now. Also, there's like a fucked up pinball that came out. The sequel to a fucked up cool pinball game came out. And I'm going to look up the name of it right now. Xenotilt is out. Yes, Xenotilt is out. It is the sequel to Demon's Tilt. I had to look it up. You may be surprised. You may not be surprised to know that somebody who there's someone I'm friends with on Steam has had that game. It's in early access, I believe, maybe. You never cared for the first one. I understand. I would play a game called Fucked Up Pinball. Yeah. I mean, it's like fucked up visually. It's cool. Not for me, because I'm not a digital pinball player myself. Look, did I like Space Cadet, the pinball game that came with Windows 98? Of course I did. Of course I liked that. Because I played it at school instead of doing other things, like schoolwork. I have a soft spot for that. But I prefer my pinball to be analog. And I like to be, they can have digital elements, but I like to be in the meat space playing my pinballs. It was no ski free, but what is very much, yes. Have you heard of a tabletop RPG, Lancer? It's self-described as a mud and lasers RPG, crunchy combat, and modular mechs. I finished a little campaign as GM and love the system. So I have heard about Lancer. I have not gone in. So my question I have here is, are we talking about did you get a physical ruler out to measure the distance between mechs? Because that's a little bit of a granularity that I'm a little worried about. I don't want to say I play fast and loose with tabletop RPGs, but I lean more towards the fast and loose style of RPGs. I like D&D a lot. I enjoy Pathfinder quite a bit, but I kind of lean more towards Fiasco of cooperative storytelling more than games where there are rules lawyers. That's just my style. It's not like Warhammer with the ruler. It's hex-based. Okay, well, there you go. Demon's Tilt is in the big sales event on Steam, but it isn't on sale. And I've never liked that stuff. Yeah, I hear it. Lancer is Lucius. Okay. All right. I like a little loose. I like playing a little fast and a little loose when it comes to those kind of things. It doesn't have to be fast and loose, but that's my preference. I do generally prefer yeah that the style to be like, okay, it's in the scale between Warhammer and Fiasco. Okay, all right, yeah. Like it doesn't have to be rules light. I'm not looking for necessarily always a rules light, but I will say that like I like a game where you're like, got it, not a game where you're like, let's meet next week and see if we can figure this out. That's just my preference. I want to get to the game often when these things come up. I want to at least attempt to get to the game. So we gotta look. We talk about wrestling on this channel, and most of the time when we talk about wrestling, it's like, oh, this match happened or this storyline happened. There are two pieces of wrestling news that I would like to cover. We'll get through the first one, which is last night, Edge celebrated his 25 years in the WWE and had a match. The main event was him versus Sheamus, a man he's never wrestled before. But Sheamus, in his YouTube channel, Celtic Warrior Workouts, they went mountain biking, and Edge fell off his bike and felt good when he fell off his bike. He felt really good. And he was like, wow, I fell and I rolled it off and I feel okay. I guess this neck surgery that I had, multiple neck surgeries, worked out. And oh wait, I've been doing a little bit of stunts here and there on the various TV shows that I make appearances in, and I don't get hurt doing that. I wonder if I could wrestle again. Which led, in many ways, that led Edge to getting back in the ring. So it made sense for his 25th anniversary in Toronto, his home town, his home province, to having a match with Sheamus. And it was a great match. Now, Edge won that match. And leading up this week, people were wondering, is this Edge's last match again? Because he had been forced into retirement and came back. Or is it his end of his contract? Is he leaving WWE? Maybe he'll go to AEW. But Edge won. And Edge's 25 years of wrestling in WWE, he's old school enough. Yes, he's in the new Percy Jackson, you're right. He's old school enough that he would, if he was going to be done, he would go out on his back. Now, does a win over Edge mean a lot to Sheamus, a man who's done almost everything there is to do in the WWE, former world champion, won every belt except the Intercontinental belt? No, doesn't really mean much, but it would mean something. Could Edge win and then retire? Yeah, he could. He then gave a speech after, a little thank you to everybody in the crowd that didn't air on television, and he said, he's been saying, oh, I don't know. Well, after this, my contract is up, and I don't know what's going to happen. And people were like, oh, he's going to go to AEW or whatever, or he's going to sign a Legends contract, so he'll be like retired, but they'll still, like pay him a bunch of money to make appearances and do shit. And he's, his wife's kind of got that. Beth Phoenix's wife still kind of has that thing where she'll do some appearances as well, and they'll keep them together, and it'll be nice. But he said, I don't know the answers, but I definitely say this is the last time you'll see me, meaning Toronto, because even if he does resign, he doesn't think he'll be in the loop is about a year. He doesn't think by the time they come through Toronto again that he'll be there, which makes sense. And it does go to some speculation that perhaps he might be done. His former tag team partner and best friend in the world, his current still best friend in the world, Christian, is at AEW. He could have some dream matches with some young, interesting talent there. He could be a big draw and have it be a real nice thing. It's possible. Get a job in the office. But most likely, I don't think he is. I think he's going to sign a very lucrative Legends contract with the WWE so they can keep selling his merch, and he can make appearances, and he can show up in places, and when they come through Canada, he'll show up, and it's a big fucking deal, and he can do a match here and there. When Randy Orton comes back from injury, if he comes back from injury, he can do a program with Randy, who he loves and loves working with. he can come in and induct someone in the Hall of Fame. He's already in it himself, and make the big showing of it. When Christian's contract finally ends and they put him in the WWE Hall of Fame, he can come in and induct Christian, and it will be a whole thing. So that's my thinking on it, is that he'll sign a Legend contract. He won't go to AEW, is my belief. The WWE will bend over backwards to offer him a deal that makes the most sense. Also, again, tied in with his wife, still wanting to do stuff with the company. You don't have to, certainly, right? You can work at different companies. It works for some people, doesn't work for other people. Some people, it's like, yeah, sure, I'm in there, you're not. Okay, no problem. We'll figure it out. We wish him the best here at Build with Baer Workshop. We wish Edge the best. Adam Copeland, hope you're doing all right. It was a great, you know what? Also, it's a great fucking match. It was a really fun match to watch. He and Sheamus have great chemistry. It was really fun. And yeah, people, it was just like a great, people were like, well, this didn't really do anything. It didn't lead to anything. It didn't build on anything. I'm like, well, one, it doesn't have to. And two, how you know? How you know that? It doesn't lead to anything. Maybe it's leading to Sheamus' character. Maybe he turns heel again. He's mad he didn't beat Edge, and it fucking bothers him for a while. And people were like, oh, you lost to a guy 25 years in wrestling, huh? And it fucking pisses him off. I don't know. Or he fucking keeps stalking Edge as part of a storyline. Like, I don't know. Or it could have just been in his hometown, Edge had a fucking cool-ass match with a cool dude that he likes. And that's fun. Yes, I mean, like, the man got... The 90s were rough to wrestlers in general, especially wrestlers that worked a high-risk, spot-based style like Edge did. And even if he transitioned out of it, certainly was still working very rough. I mean, he was forced into retirement. Didn't want to retire. He had to. And he got to do some stuff with Rey Mysterio, who he's been tight with for decades now, and that was fun. And yes, would it be interesting in AEW? Yeah, it'd be interesting in AEW. Do I think it's going to happen? I actually don't think it's going to happen, because I think they would want to do Edge and Christian versus the Hardys, and I just need that old shit to fucking be old. Like, just no, we don't need that. We don't need it anymore. It wouldn't be what you want it to be. It wouldn't hold up. It would be rough. It would be so fucking rough. Can't be a major part of the rise of TLC matches and get out cleanly. Definitely not. Yeah. The other thing that, like, oh boy, we'll get into more details about Cash Wheeler, Daniel Cash Wheeler. His real last name is Wheeler. We'll talk more about FTR Gunn probably in the weeks to come. So FTR tag team in AEW. They were the Revival in WWE, no, FTR. Yeah, Cash, the end of last month, in a road rage incident, flashed his gun at someone he was mad at. And he was, there was a warrant placed for him. He pled, and then he was officially arrested yesterday on aggravated assault with a firearm. This happened, he paid a bail, made bail. His passport was not surrendered. He is not considered a flight risk. He has not been convicted of a crime. It would be a felony because you may know that he has a match in the UK very soon. And a felony conviction would bar him entry. It is not about him leaving the state of the United States. It is about him entering. That would also make it difficult for him to enter Canada. There are ways around that, but traditionally it would be difficult for him to do that. But it would be difficult for him to enter. And people were like, oh, well, the match is off. And it's like, well, he's not convicted of anything. And he's not considered a flight risk, so his passport wasn't seized. Now, the United Kingdom, You can get to Britain, and they could be like, no. This is the thing that I always want to remind people when we're talking about overseas travel. They don't have to have a good reason or any reason. They can just be like, no, your name is too close to a name of someone we don't like. No, we don't care about the thing you're going there to do. Now, the cons, Tony Khan, the cons own a sports club, a football club, are bringing a lot of money into the city of London. This is the premium Bandai Gundam Rose. Yes, you're totally right, Emerald Sword. That's what we're currently working on. We are now almost body complete on the Rose. So they could just be like, no, we don't think it's appropriate for you to come in here. Is he going to get convicted and serve jail time? Probably not. Emerald Sword, I am at least going to consider getting the Maxter. I have not said for sure because it has not, as far as I know, the Maxter, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe the Maxter has gone up for pre-order through the US Premium Bandai. I know it did in Singapore, but I do not believe that it has shown up here at or in America for pre-order. If it does, when it does, I will certainly consider it. Because the idea of new G Gundam kits in 2023, like this kit, is wild to me in a way that I really enjoy. I love the idea that these kits exist, that we're not just getting the God Gundam or the Shining Gundam, we're getting other things from G Gundam. Makes me happy. I was at a local wrestling event last week, and Devon Dudley was there. Someone brought a table for him to sign with a can of spray paint. That is very funny. The Master Gundam, I could see them doing a high grade. I don't know if they do a real grade of the Master Gundam. It is excellent. Here's the thing, right? Let's say pie in the sky, right? Anything from that, obviously, a new 2023 Nobel Gundam would be great. Nobel Gundam high grade 2023, new methods. This kit has no polycaps. Like that would be fantastic. I would love that. I'm not saying I'm not like thinking definitely, we're going to get that, but it would be great. Obviously, the thing I want most, more than anything else, that I know we're not getting, I want a RE100 Devil Gundam. Or Dark Gundam, if you want to go by the dub. I want the Devil Gundam. I want a new mold of the RE100 Devil Gundam. We are not getting that. I am not going to get that. But it is what I want. I think it would be wonderfully wild if I got that. But I don't expect to get that. That would be pretty beefy boy 100. Yes. Yeah, I think the Noble Gundam would be, a modern Nobel Gundam would be fantastic. That's already a fun kit, but I would like that. We're not getting a Devil Gundam. We're not going to get a big Devil Gundam, right? It's not likely. It would be rad, but we're not getting that, and I know that. I know that, but it doesn't mean I don't, I want what I want, That's where we're at with that. I can dream. Let me dream. All right, so gonna need E11 and E11, and then I'm gonna need E12, and then 2 D8s. So we'll get these out here. I don't know what to call these, like lapels. I forget what these are called, but we're working on the cape, and we're working on the 2 shoulders, the pauldrons, and they have some military like flair to them. And I don't know the specific names for these, so we'll figure it out. It's gonna look good. I know that. Anyway, Cash Wheeler probably not gonna miss All In. Should he? So I'm thrilled that no one was hurt. Right? Emotional damage aside, no one was hurt. Thrilled about that. Pulling a gun on someone in the morning, that's scary and weird. I mean, anytime is scary and weird, but particularly in that case, bizarre, strange. I I don't think he's going to serve jail time. It's Florida, and the Cons have a football team in Florida. Sorry, they do. Like they got a football team in Florida. They're probably not going to be in trouble. Like he's not a Con, but he is an employee of the Cons. And one of his best friends is a guy that Tony Khan can't say fucking no to ever for any reason, apparently. So I don't think Cash Wheeler is going to serve jail time for not pointing at a gun, letting another person know, hey, I have a gun. Which is, I am not condoning in any way, shape, or form. I am not in support of that. But I don't think he's going to go to jail. Yes. Yes, it's very Florida, man. I had an unwarranted rant in my car this afternoon about the new Kit Games Workshop release this morning because I saw a $110 price tag on it when it's basically the $60 kit with an extra sprue in it. Then I went on again this afternoon to see the price back down to $60. You put it out in the universe. This isn't cool. And the universe was like, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right, Dirty. Yeah, sometimes you see those prices and you're just like, but no, though. But you can't, though? But don't. What? But don't. What are you talking about? No. Get out of here. Yeah, it happens. Sometimes I feel very blessed that I do not buy Warhammer and that I got out of Magic the Gathering in the 90s. Sometimes I feel very blessed for those two things. I hear you. We're going to take a pause for the cause in a moment or two here. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel. Everything I'll talk about is optional, but I got to do it. I got to do my ad reads. I got to promote the stuff and I got to keep the lights on. I got to do all that. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I got to big up myself. And then we'll get back into model kit building and all of that. But yeah, we got to do this thing here, and we'll do that. Go to the intro button there, great. Because we got to chat a little bit here. Everything I'm about to talk to you about now is optional. You don't have to do any of this stuff. If you would like to, I would love it if you did. You don't have to, though. These are all optional things that would benefit me financially and allow me to continue to do cool stuff here. But the real secret is, unless a bunch of people collectively were like, we're done here, I'm going to keep doing it. Eventually, if no one watches, it's going to be hard. And then if no one supports financially, that also would make it very difficult. But in general, if you can't, I got you. I hear you. Dirty already did, but let's say, hey, if you're a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave Lego of the site, the tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money. If you're a subscriber using Cash Money like Rain did, I really appreciate that. Or use your Prime Gaming token like we had 2 days ago with Lashbrook, or you use your Prime token because you have Amazon Prime link with your Twitch, you get that little token. You can use it for somebody, and using it for me is great. You could gift a sub like Bunny Fiend and Bobby Dice Roller and J Devil did tonight. J Devil did that tonight. Those folks gifted subs to the community, which is so nice. Get cool emotes. You don't see pre-roll ads or ads at all, which is great. That's just nice to not see that. I get a bit of that money. Everybody wins. That's not the only way to support me here. And again, these are optional. You don't have to do it. But I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. And over on Patreon, there's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Go check it out. See if there's a tier that works for you, that makes sense for you to do that. That might be another option. Some people do both. And they don't have to. And it's nice that they do. It is nice. YouTube.com/PatBear is my YouTube channel. Subscribing on YouTube is free, but there's also a membership. You can become a member there. And for $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. It's a very small thing, but it's also only $2. So it's something you could do. And also it pushes my AdSense up towards the $100 where I could actually get a payout, because if it doesn't hit $100, you don't get the payout. And so I just have 80-something dollars in my AdSense waiting. Hopefully I'll have a big month of views and I'll be able to use that money to cash that money out. I hate that. I wish I could. Wish I could do it a little cheaper. It's annoying. Do $50. Come on. Let's see. Those are all monthly ways to support me. If you wanted to make a one-time donation, you could. You could pop in over to my PayPal or my Coffee or my Stream Elements if you wanted to do that. Make a direct donation. Everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me out. Patreon or Twitch, all goes into a fund. I buy model kits with that. This Gundam Rose, I was able to pre-order because I had the funds available because of your generosity in the past. Past you, collectively, benefits present you. And it could be the same person. So you could benefit future you. That's very convoluted, but it's true. Now, the next thing I'm going to be building comes because of someone directly paid me money in order to purchase it. Because if you buy something from my Amazon wish list, you jump the queue. I make a dedicated video about the thing you bought because that's the least I could do. And I've got a bunch of stuff on my wish list you could check out, see if there's something there you'd like to see me build. I've got Lego sets, I've got model kits, I got inexpensive kits, I got expensive kits. Sometimes stuff drops in sale and they are very good prices. Right now, the Elfrith Thorn is like $20. That's a pretty fucking good price for Amazon. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. And I'd be happy to build it. And again, you buy it, I build it on stream. That's how that works. And I've got some gear at the bottom. I've got very expensive kits, inexpensive kits, all kinds of different things. See if there's something there you would love to see me build that you want to buy, and you could do that. I have a throne wish list, which is the alternative. There's surprise gifts in there if you want to do that. No one ever has, but you could. And then also, the most convoluted way is go to USA Gundam Store, make an account on USA Gundam Store, buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store, get that gift card in your email. Decide. You are then going to whisper me here on Twitch or DM me on Twitter, because my DMs are open as long as they still allow that, and then send me a gift card code to USA Gundam Store that you had purchased, and then I will use that gift card code and buy a model kit. The most convoluted way to support me that only like 3 people have ever done, but 3 people did it, and options are good. Because when I just had an Amazon wish list, people were like, I wish you had more than that. So now I do. All right, those are all the ways to support me financially. We're going to get back to building really soon. But first, I do want to just say I have a Discord, and you are welcome to join that Discord. I post build photos at the end of every stream. People post stuff they're working on. It is a nice little community. You are welcome to join us. We would love to have you. If you wanted to, that would be cool. And again, you don't have to do that, but if you wanted to, you're welcome. I got a couple of video links I would like you to watch after the stream is over. Pat Bear's Anime Club is an ongoing video series where every other Monday I put up a new video where I take a look at something from the world of anime that I wanted to talk about. And this video is me recommending anime from earlier in 2023 that maybe you missed. Because this season is a little light. There's some heavy hitters. We'll talk about one of them tonight. But there's also just like room to watch some other stuff. And I recommended a few shows that maybe fell through the cracks. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series where every week I write and perform a piece of comedy that I have rehearsed at some amount. I promise you, I have done some bit of rehearsal. It is at least barely rehearsed. This one is a wrestling promo. I can't believe I made it to, 30-something? I made it to 33 of these before I did a wrestling promo. And it's pretty good, I think. It's one of my longer videos and pretty fun. So check that out if you like. We're going to talk about some anime that I have been watching. Then we'll talk about some video games that we've all collectively been playing. But first, I need to drink some water, and then we'll dramatically transition back to the overhead, and then we'll get into it. So let's do that right now. All right. Let's work on these shoulders here, and we will talk about some anime that I have been watching. This episode of Reborn, a Vending Machine, I Now Wander the Dungeon. I meant to talk about this on Thursday. Pardon me. But the episode was so annoying that I stopped watching the episode, and but I struggled through it and I came to it. If you have not watched this series, it is the weird, strange premise, the weird isekai premise of a person who loved vending machines when they were a Japanese person and then died in a vending machine accident. For real. That is how the story goes. They died and then they were reincarnated as a vending machine in a fantasy world. And now they are dealing with that reality of their life. Of their, where we last left Boxo, that's the name of the vending machine. Boxo had been taken on a quest to go and defeat a bunch of basically alligator fiends, which are just powerful alligators, and was taking on the lord of those alligators, but fell and got separated from his party and fell into a maze, a giant maze, where, like, another part of this big labyrinth that they've been in, where Boxo defeated the Lord and got 1,000,000 points, which allowed Boxo to level up to rank 2. But the coin that he got, we'll see if it actually is valuable later. But right now, the coin he got for defeating the Lord isn't actually worth anything, which is a bummer. And now he has a solar panel, so he can recharge his power without spending points. Because that was the thing, right? Up until now, Boxo, in order to exist, had to spend points that Boxo got for people purchasing things out of him. And he needed those points in order to live, to exist. He now no longer needs that. He can now create energy to replenish, which is great. Takes away on some of the, like, hey, if Boxo isn't around people, Boxo isn't going to be able to get points. So now Boxo just needs to get reunited with his friends. And the reason why I stopped watching this episode the first time, because it was so fucking annoying, was because he runs into some bear cats, these little Tasmanian devil-like assholes. They have names. I think one of them is named Short, if I remember correctly. They all suck shit. They are dumbasses, and they are annoying, and they do not understand the concept that Boxo is a magical item with a soul and comprehension. Boxo tries so hard to communicate with them, to give the things that they need. Gives them food for them to buy. And they're like, great, we can't wait to sell this thing. We're going to go sell it to a restaurant we know of. Which we've seen in previous episodes. They run into a flame skeleton, and they escape. And Boxo gives them useful items to help, and they still don't understand. They think it's just a coincidence, and it's like, is this it's one of those things where, like, I'm reaching here. I'm like, is this a attempt to, like, talk about the struggle, like the belief that just because you don't know my language, you must be stupid, right? Like the immigrant story, right? Like, oh, well, you're dumb enough not to know my language, so you must be really dumb. And it's like, that kind of thing. Is that what we're doing here, or is it just we wanted to just have Boxo have an annoying time? I don't know. Eventually, they get to the exit and they run into Lamis, the strong girl who saved Boxo in the first episode and became Boxo's like friend, and they're so happy they found Boxo, and then Director Baer, who is just a bear, he's a bear who's the guild master. They called him Director Baer, and I love that. I love it for them. He's just like, hey, yeah, what? No, Boxo is Boxo is a soul and his intelligence, and the Bearcats are like, what? Ugh. They're so fucking frustrating that I stopped watching that episode. But now I've finally finished, and I hope they're not in any other episodes. But at least now they know that Boxo is a cool dude. Come on. Anyway, in lighter stories where I enjoyed the whole fucking thing, let's talk about Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence, the chill slice of life series where nothing too difficult happens, and sometimes that is a bummer for people. But for me, it's just a fucking enjoyable little anime about a girl working for the church that has magic abilities and the caretaker looking after her, and they're both interested in each other romantically, and neither understands that about the other, or even maybe even themselves. And it is slow paced and fun, and everyone in this fucking town is just like, yeah, well, someday I'll make you a wedding dress, right? Ha ha ha. It's like, oh, stop teasing me. And they're like, no, we think eventually you're going to get married to Lawrence, and so we are teasing you, but also we think that's going to happen, though. You should be working on this shit. And overall, it is just pretty enjoyable. So that's where we're at here. The minor character of Abel gets a lot of focus here on this episode. We get a lot of backstory about Abel, who is a fine addition to the cast, because in many ways he is calling out the reality of what's going on, and in other ways he is completely lost about what's going on for himself. That's fun. The first part of this episode isn't really relevant to the story. It is it basically we have Cecilia is working at a cafe because she wants to kind of help understand what's going on with the townspeople and kind of like know more about them. So she wants to help out. And Lawrence shows up. Oh, also she like wants Lawrence to see her working hard, so she'll get complimented by Lawrence because she's simple in that way. She wants the guy she likes to say that she's doing a good job. And Lawrence is like, "Why? What happened? Do you owe them money? Did you break something?" Which is rude, but also probably but reasonable to assume. But no. Hey, guess what? Cecilia showing up to work there causes everything to get wild, and it's very busy now that Cecilia is hanging out. So Lawrence gets roped into helping out, and they work together, and it's fucking cute as hell. Let's see. Abel and Lawrence have to go to a neighboring village for important work. The other person who hangs out with them, Hazelita, hangs out with Cecilia, and they have some conversation about her being more like adult and less like childish, so that like Lawrence will see her as a woman and not as the girl he knew in the past. Hazelita is trying to encourage our girl to be more like aggressive because in pursuing him, because Lawrence is just not gonna fucking get it. He's not gonna pick up the clues unless you really hit him over the head with it. Then there's a long thing about Abel. Abel has been able to see things as a child. He can see like ghosts and apparitions as a child, and that caused his parents to mistreat him and abandon him because he was the town weirdo. And it really, really affected him. Um, he was never happy as a kid. He and Lawrence know that because everybody just thought he was creepy. Um, and then at some point, we don't know who, but Abel met someone that changed his life, and we don't know what happened there. And then Hazelita gets a letter from her brother, and they're like, hey, you got to figure this shit out before he shows up here. And they're a little worried about it. So we might get introduced to Hazelita's brother and find out what the deal is with this dude and if he is bad news or something or just weird news. So that's probably a future episode. And Cecilia thanks Abel for meeting Lawrence and being Lawrence's friend. And that's nice. This was a nice chill episode. If you're like, nothing happened in this episode, it's like, yeah, that's fine. It's fine that nothing happened. That can happen. And it's good for me that nothing happened in this episode because the other series that I want to talk to you about, everything fucking happened in this episode. Things are popping off in Undead Murder Farce. I must remind you, friends, what's the plot of Undead Murder Farce, you ask? Pat, haven't heard of this one. What's going on there? Well, it's the 19th century, towards the tail end of the 19th century. And magic and monsters and all that, those are real. There are vampires in this world and all kinds of stuff. And the world's greatest detective is an immortal woman named Anya. She is immortal, which is cool. At some point, she got her head chopped off, and her body was taken by a mysterious man. That all we know about this man is that he has a cane with the letter M on it. And we don't know who he is. It's Moriarty. We always knew it was Moriarty. Right? Right, Jesse? We always knew that was Moriarty, but it was never said. It was like this mysterious professor with an M on his cane and his weird crew of people. Anyway, she's looking to die because she's just a fucking head right now. She meets a guy who has Oni blood in him. He kills monsters, and one day he will become a monster. And he will lose all of his faculties, and he will just be a beast. And he fucking hates that. And he's looking to prevent that if he can. She was looking for him to kill her. Because that's the best way to kill an immortal, apparently, with Oni. And she knows how to save. In exchange, she was willing to go like, "Hey, I'll tell you how you can take control and not lose control in the future." And he was like, "Well, what about? I'll do that if you want. But what about before that? We use the fact that you're the world's greatest detective, and I'm a very skilled fighter. Let's team up and find the guy that stole your body and also awakened the demon blood in me, the Oni blood in me. Let's go fucking find this dude and take care of him." So they agree, and then they're traversing the world, solving mysteries, mostly in Europe, but they're solving mysteries with the final destination of discovering this dude's whereabouts. So they solve a murder of a vampire, and they figure all that stuff out. And there's references to Sherlock Holmes, and there's some other stuff going on. Right now, we are in the second major arc of this series, which is preventing a diamond being stolen. I have the name of the diamond written down. The penultimate night diamond is being protected by the main character of Around the World in 80 Days. That man has hired Anya, our demon guy, Suguru, Sherlock Holmes, Watson, and various people from Scotland Yard to protect this diamond because this diamond, it looks like, is going to be stolen by Lupin. not Lupin the Third, Lupin's grandfather, non-canonically, if you ask the writer, estate, but Lupin. Lupin is Lupin, but we're going to say Lupin. Lupin has teamed up with Eric, the Phantom of the Opera, in order to steal this diamond. And then more shit fucking happens. But anyway, so that's where we're at when we start with this. There's a whole thing where Lestrade is there, and he's like, oh, we're going to die because this room is filling up with water, but Lupin never kills people, so we'll be okay. Is this just Smash Bros. Or public domain literary characters? It's one of those things where you're like, in episode 2, they mention, they just like haphazardly in episode 2 just go like, well, you know, with Dracula being dead, vampires are coming out of hiding and trying to integrate with modern society. And you're like, wait, Dracula is dead? And you're just going to be nonchalant about that? This is very nonchalant about all this shit. But yes, if it is a literary reference of the time period, it is just going to be casually mentioned here and then moved on. So they managed to save themselves, and then they're going over a wood bridge, and then they dry off, and then one of the people from the yard recognizes, oh wait, that's Lupin in disguise. Lupin's been here the whole time. He stole the he sold the safe. And there's a whole thing back and forth of Holmes deducting why and what happened here. There's a whole thing, but then Lupin knew that he would be discovered, and he knew that they didn't put. Lupin knew that they wouldn't put the diamond into the safe. That was a trap. So even though he stole the safe, he also pickpocketed Watson, who had the diamond, and he throws a smoke bomb and runs away. And then Lupin flees because he's like, I did it. I got it done. But then our main goot, Suguru, the guy who's half demon, and another person show up to fight him, Reynolds, and the safe had... This is the weirdest thing. So you know how the diamond wasn't in the safe? You're like, well, Pat, what was in the safe? Do you know what was in the safe? A head. Aya was in the safe. Aya's head was in the safe the whole time. Which is kind of a reference to the pot thief, where the person who uses his head to catch a criminal, so literally uses her head. And then thought that was a reporter who was there, and it's this whole thing. Who would suspect she would be in the safe the whole time? Also, why would they assumed that he would steal the safe and he would just be taking her? It's a whole thing. Then Eric, the Phantom of the Opera, runs away, and Fatima chases him down. So then Reynolds and Suguru have to fight Lupin for the diamond, and the drawbridge collapses, and then they get sent flying into the air, an explosion. And then, hey, guess what? The mysterious professor with an M on his cane, who stole Aya's body and turned Suguru into awoken Suguru's demon blood, he shows up. And guess what? He's been Moriarty the whole time, because of fucking course he was Moriarty the whole goddamn time. Of course he was Moriarty the whole time, but he is. He's Moriarty, he's here, and he's pissed. No, so he shows up with his boutique. That's right. Moriarty has assembled a team of literary characters and one real guy. He has a... This is not included in the text. I am saying this. They didn't say this. They should have said it. Moriarty has a monster squad, everybody. It's a motherfucking monster squad. So one of these names, I did not know who this person was, so I had to look it up. We've got uh, Carmilia. Carmilia is a novella by an Irish writer that predates Bram Stoker's Dracula about a vampire. So we have Carmilla, the vampire. We also have Aleister fucking Crowley, a real dude, a for real occultist and professor and researcher of mysticism and magic, a person that existed in the real world, is in this fucking anime. We also have Victor. That's a fucking Frankenstein. It's not Dr. Frankenstein, it's Victor. Named after Victor von Frankenstein. There's a fucking Frankenstein. And also, just somebody named Jack. Just a guy named Jack, who is clearly Jack the Ripper. A not monster. A monster in another sense, but not a mythical monster. Oh, also, Aleister Crowley knows fire magic. He can use magic, and he burns a bunch of people up. And it's, like, brutal. And we're like, what the fuck is happening? Okay, so Lupin, Reynolds, and Suguru are fighting. A bunch of people who are no names get fucking murked by Carmilla, or Carmilia, and Aleister. Fatima confronts the Phantom of the Opera and wounds him. Holmes, Watson meet with Aya, the head, and they have a pleasant conversation. And she's just like, take me with you. I'd love to check out. She's basically like, hey, I'm intrigued by that weird group of monsters. Let's go check it out. Which is very funny. So much is happening in this goddamn anime. Gotta get through it. What else happens here? Okay. Holmes, Watson, and Aya run into Aleister. Aleister fires a small pin at Watson, and Holmes pushes him aside, and he's like, wait, this pin is laced with a paralyzing agent used by, and he names some indigenous people that I didn't write the name down on. So he deduces that Aleister Crowley does not know magic. He instead just has incredibly fast reflexes. And he used concealed weapons in his coat. Which, why? I don't know why. It was important for them to be like, Aleister Crowley is a fake magician. Magic isn't real. Vampires are real. We've met multiple vampires. We had a vampire that died with a silver stake to their heart, and we investigated her murder. There have been multiple vampires in this show. There is a Frankenstein's monster is there. But it's too far if Aleister Crowley can use magic. So they were like, no. I don't know enough about Crowley in real life to know if he had any power of fire magic. So apparently he didn't in reality or in this. He's just a guy that liked spooky shit and theoretically wanted to be spooky and magical, but probably wasn't. And in this, isn't. And that was weird. Yeah, also immortals. There's immortals and demon people and all this, but nope, not magic. Let's see. Suzuki, who we haven't seen in a while, she's after Carmilia, who I don't know anything about other than I had to look her up because I was like, I don't know anything. So I looked up that name and vampire, and I came up with it like, oh, it's a novella written by an Irish author, and it predates Bram Stoker. And I'm like, okay, that's fun. They didn't just make up a lady. She is from fiction. Someone else made up that lady. And then the episode ends with free falling because there was an explosion. Remember, there was an explosion? Free falling from the sky, still fucking fist fighting, is Lupin, Suguru, and Reynolds comically fighting over the diamond and punching each other, and then they land and they enter right near a church. I remember when I was foolishly incredibly excited about the idea that Lupin the Third was in there with Phantom of the Opera, and how I was like, this show is bonkers. I was so naive. You may have been able to tell by my explanation that I think this show whips ass. It fucking rules. It is unbelievably great. That is Undead Murder Farce. The full title in manga or light novel form is Undead Girl Murder Farce, but Crunchyroll chose to go with just Undead Murder Farce as its title. It is like this weird crossover thing of like, well, we can use these characters because they're in public domain. Like, you can't use some stories from Lupin at this point. It's the same thing with Sherlock Holmes, but you can have the characters, and they fucking do. They do have the characters. It is wild and weird, and I love it very, very much. It's such a wonderful surprise because I was like, woman's head in a bird cage. Oh, also, I think Carmelia was very fascinated by and wants to know more about Aya and her being in the head in there. I think that was something I missed. But yeah, shit's weird. And in the best possible way, I say shit's weird because it's wonderfully strange. It is one of my favorite shows of the season. And it's not the strongest season, of anime, but this is clearly the big one. He was actually called Frankenstein's monster. Yes, Lord Crashington. Yes, Victor von Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster. They call this guy Victor, though. He's named after... I know this because I looked it up, right? This is not said in the episode. We'll know this later. Spoilers. Victor wasn't created by Frankenstein. This monster was created with notes that Victor von Frankenstein left. And then Moriarty made a man based on those notes, and named him, or someone made it, and then, that's right, somebody made it, and then Moriarty found him and gave him the name Victor. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong. But all of it is bonkers and very good. And I don't know what else to say except Undead Murder Farce is my anime of the season. It is very, very good. Yeah, it's a lot. And then also, like I said, the first episode is just the characters meeting. We learned a lot about Suguru, and then Aya shows up and the maid fights with Suguru, and then they team up. And then it's like several months passed and a vampire was murdered. And they got hired to solve the case. And you're like, wait, what? And then it's just a couple episodes of like learning about this vampire family and figuring out the murder mystery. And it's like, oh, okay. It's just wild. I just want one character that just does the will actually thing every chance they get. You're like, well, he's named Victor, but Victor was also the name of the man who made him. He's the yeah. Yes, I don't think anyone's going to be pedantic in this show to that level, but they could be. All right, so these like to fall out. All right, I got to get these pieces lined up here right before I put the lid on. But this thing just likes to fall the fuck apart. I'm going to make sure this is lined up right when these go in there. So this is lined up like that. Okay. I got to make sure all these parts fit right. Now's the part of the stream where I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you into? What's got you going? I'll start by telling you that I am still loving Mars First Logistics. We're going to be playing that on Tuesday here on the stream. I love making weird vehicle contraptions to try to solve and move objects around Mars. It is just fun. I am kind of stuck at this point, so I'm hoping I might get inspiration by doing the stream with all of you on Tuesday. So I hope you'll come hang out on Tuesday because I think maybe if I get enough people like being like, oh, well, what if you tried this? Like, I might be able to solve one of the three main quest things that I haven't been able to solve. I might also look online to see if anybody has easily solved them. But yeah, the main ones I still have to figure out, and then the little smaller quests, we'll join a bunch of them and figure them out. Okay, so that's in. These three pieces are in. I'm going to use my tweezers to hold this like this, and then try to get the other ones in. Okay, I'm going to do it like that. And then we'll try to get these other two pieces in properly, and then get the lid on. Oops. That did not want to work. All right. This is going to be one of those things where, like, it's going to take me a while to do this here on stream, and then I'm going to just immediately do it once the stream is over. It's going to be one of these. It just feels like this is going to be one of those where I'm like, I couldn't get these lined up. I needed a third hand, and I just do it. It's like, oh, never mind. It was not hard. I was just fucking up because I was on stream. We'll see if I can get it. So yeah, I've been playing, you know me, I'm playing Hearthstone. I got a couple decks I'm really liking, some fun ones. An old deck that I hadn't played in a while in Wild that I am now playing much more of because there are a couple of new cards that make that deck totally fun and really enjoyable. So I've been doing that and mostly just hanging out and playing some games and having a good time on that. Again, Mars First Logistics going to play that on Tuesday. Looking forward to diving in more with that with an audience because that game is just whips ass and is very cool. So I'd like to play that again with people and show off the cool, weird contraptions that I have made in that game because I have made quite a few cool, weird contraptions in there. Let's see what y'all have to say. Angry Mob of Steve says Star Trek TNG, Baldur's Gate 3, and Metal Gear Solid 5. That's a lot of games. You also asked a question about my setup, and I will answer that in a moment because I just want to get through these. But I will come back, Angry Mob of Steve, and talk logistics with you in a second. John says, checked out the latest Kakarot DLC, 23rd World Tournament. They do the DLC very slowly, but every time something comes out, it's a banger. That's awesome. I love it when those things come out. TNG is just a TV show. Yes. Lord Crashington. Oh, sorry. Aristophan says, I've been out of town quite a bit the last few weeks, so it's been Switch gaming for me. I finished Pikmin 4. Very good. And I'm close to finishing Disney Illusion Island. Nice, Aristophan. Yeah, I have a couple friends that are real into that game. They're real into Disney Illusion Island. Lord Crashington says, I started watching Pathfinder stuff Giant Bomb did back in the day to remember the exploits of V-Bomb and Detroit Jones. God. That was there were some highs and some lows with that. Some of that crew was really into what they were doing, and some of that crew was real into having a hard time with it, I guess. Into season 2 of Babylon 5, things are popping off. Learned about the sad reason for switching out Sinclair last night. Yeah. TNG, the show, saying getting through TNG season 4 at the moment. You know, Riker's got to get a beard, and then things fucking pick up. It's Riker's beard, and it's Cisco shaving his head. Those are the two standout moments. That's when things kick off in TNG and DS9, respectively. They are moments of hair. Also been playing some Everspace 2, which is a space shooter with all the loot shit you'd expect in a modern game. Ooh, enjoying it more after they fixed stuttering issues in Game Pass version. Yeah, that would obviously suck ass. It has a lot of menu stuff. That's kind of it a lot, especially when they introduce crafting on top of everything else. So, ooh. I keep forgetting Cisco did not always have a shaved head. Yes, he was balding when it starts, or he had a buzz cut, and then eventually he shaves it. And that is coincidentally around the time that that show gets, that goes from being, oh, this is kind of cool, oh, this is a different show, to like, oh, wow, they have something, this is a fucking Star Trek show that has something to say again. It's awesome. Good. They didn't really have anything to say at the start, and now they fucking definitely do. Good on them. So it is nice for that. Riker's currently trying to break out an alien hospital. Nice. So, to answer Angry Mob Steve's question about my overhead. So, yeah, so I have a 2-camera setup. I have a Logitech webcam that I am using right there that is mounted on top of the stand for my monitors. I have double monitors here and I have a third monitor over here on its own stand. So I have a webcam that's attached to that monitor, or to the pole there, right in the middle, right down the middle. And above me, I have a Panasonic camera. Now, the third monitor is on its own desk that is different from this desk. So the idea is that I can move around and it doesn't shake the third monitor, which has on that table a pole that comes up and comes over and has a camera mount on it, and the camera is mounted there. So the camera, because it is because this camera is a real camcorder, it's a Panasonic camcorder that I bought many years ago to record myself when I traveled for panels and such. It has its own zoom, so it doesn't have to be that close to the table. It's up here. I am now putting my hand over it. I have to like lean up out of my chair, so I can still zoom if I want to. I can just reach up and zoom, but it's zoomed in pretty well because I used to have 2 webcams, and my webcam was on a arm, a camera arm that like was adjustable, and I would have to bend it in, and it like covered part. I had to really, really careful about where it was. It was a real pain in the ass, and it would just be in my way. This camera, I don't ever see unless I'm directly looking at it. It's not in my line of sight for everyday use. You're looking to do a similar kind of setup and trying to find a good wall mount arm. Yeah, so this arm is fine because the camera isn't that heavy. If it was heavier, it would be a problem. It works out great for me. The previous arm that I use, which now is my light, which is right over here, you can see the shadow. My previous arm, which I still use if I travel, when I travel, is still a great piece of equipment, which is now my camera, my lighting thing. That I used for many, many years. That served me very well. But, like I said, it meant that my overhead webcam, when I used it for that, had to be pretty close. It had to be like just above my eye line so that it wasn't in this shot. But that meant that it was just in my way, and a fucking bummer. Often a fucking bummer. All right, we're going to wrap up the stream in a minute or two. I'm going to panel line this. We are now just about body complete. What we'll do on, we're going to finish this kit up on Monday. What are we going to do on Monday with this kit? Oh, no problem. Happy to help to answer those questions. What are we going to do with this kit on Monday, you ask, Pat? Well, on Monday, we are going to build the, I've already built the base. We are going to build the core lander and put the core lander in this kit. And then we are going to build the effects parts, because we have cool effects. We have the weapons here. We've got to put the, we've got to build the actual sword and put the sword in there. And then we have to build all of the cool rose petals, because these shield components are going to pop off, and then they have cool effects parts that come out of them, and those will go on the base. I built the action base. We've got a clear blue action base because of the clear effects parts, which is rad. This base looks so cool in clear blue. So we've got to do that. So we're almost done with this kit. We have done most of it, but it requires a little bit more work. And then I'll have to get the adapter out so that this kit will sit. I gotta figure out what part is this adapter? It's weird that it doesn't fucking tell me. I got to find the adapter for that. Oh, I see it now. Okay. It comes with it. Great. I got to put I'll do that later. But yeah, we're basically body complete on this kit here. We just need to finish the base, and we need to build the core lander, and we'll do all of that on Monday's stream. So I hope you'll come back on Monday for that. And these are removable because, like I said, these will have some effects parts and all that. But the Rose Gundam is looking real fucking good. Again, we'll build the sword and put it on, put the hand on, have it have its cool sword and do all the cool shit it needs to do there. I'm just gonna take the sword off for now. It doesn't lay right with the sword on. But yeah, we got a lot done tonight on this kit, and we're gonna wrap it up on Monday, and then I'll start some Lego on Monday, which is gonna be very fun. And that is gonna do it for tonight's stream. I want to thank you all so much for spending some time with me here on your, you didn't have to, and I'm happy you spent some of your Saturday night with me, building a model kit and hanging out and having a good time. I hope you had a good time with it. We are going to raid. That is how we end every stream around here. We're going to go find someone doing cool shit and go spend some time with them, because we always end with a raid, as John just said. So let's see who is streaming on a Saturday night we can go hang out with, and then I'm going to go watch the West Coast replay of Collision, because we're building to a pay-per-view, so I want to see what they're up to. So what is going on here? I don't know who we're going to go raid. Hey, we talked about Baldur's Gate 3. Arthur Geese is playing Baldur's Gate 3. Let's go hang out with Arthur. This will be fun. Arthur Geese is playing. And, if you don't want to see anything from that, maybe don't come and hang out. But Arthur's good people. This will be a fun raid. So let's go hang out there. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We had a lot of people here tonight. We had some new people. Hit that follow button if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Come back and check the progress of this kit as we finish it on Monday. And then also 9 p.m. Eastern, and then also start a very cool Lego set with there's dinosaur poop in that Lego set that we're going to start on Monday, and that's just a true fact. Thanks all so much for hanging out. Have a good one. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.